Rack and Fin Radio with Tom P. on 97.3 ESPN.
Now, we were just talking turkeys here. Let's switch up to some fishing, freshwater fishing. The bass, the pickerel have been, this heat spell, man, fish have been, it's been touchy. And, we're doing all right. And I ran into a guy. He said, "You've been fishing snakeheads." I said, "No." I said, "Not since last year. We did a few little forays, sorties as we call them, and then got one here, got one there, nothing exciting." He said, "Well," he said, "they are on the bite down. That's usually a spring thing. I know when they, after they spawn, they're protecting the bait, the fry balls and the whole bit." Well, I have flashback to May 30th, up there at Camp Edge for the Ranch Hope outing. A family fishing, the kids were having a ball, the adults were there, met a very intense guy. People were saying, "Man, his lures really were his lures for snakeheads." I said, "What lures?" And I'm looking at these lures saying, "Man, these things look pretty interesting. I never saw anything like them before." And one guy says, "And here he comes! Met a gentleman, Frank Irati. Just a really, really cool guy, intensity magnified. And we talked snakeheads for a bit. Saw his products at work, and now there's an upcoming article in the Fisherman magazine, going to be out in a couple of weeks, it's like an invasives update thing. You can check on the invasive snakeheads, blue cats, things like that in the Fish and Wildlife Digest, the Freshwater Fishing Digest, which is out. Chris Smith wrote an outstanding piece there. But the snakeheads are intriguing. Again, an invasive species is supposed to be destroyed. Once you catch them, you take them home, eat them, do whatever, but don't release them, et cetera, et cetera. But what a quarry. So, call Frank. I said, "Hey, man, these lures look pretty interesting. Want to come on Rack and Fin and talk some snakeheads and talk some of your lures?" This isn't endorsing people. I haven't used them yet, but they look, and from the testimonials I'm getting, I put some feelers out. "Whoa, you met him? Guy is pretty damn cool. His lures kick snakehead ass." Well, he's on the us right now. Frank, how you doing, man?
Hey, Tommy P, not too bad.
Great, you can join us. I know your schedule's crazy. Listen, if he's not making lures, he's out there testing them and trying them out. The snakehead things, your selection, absolutely fascinating me, Frank. But I want to get into it. You're primarily a bass guy, and you were doing bass and pickerel, and then came the snakeheads. What was the impetus for you to try to redesign some lures or design lures, specifically what they call the dragons?
Okay, well, I've been making these things for going on 30 years now. It started out a long time ago. There was a product called a Ronsky Super Snake. It was a big old plastic head that looked like a snake that floated.
The Ronsky's. God, I remember seeing it. Oh my God! Oh wow!
And the problem with them, because I was a bass fisherman, the problem with those was the head was too big and the hook was too small. So I started cutting up styrofoam bobbers and little chunks of wood and made my own. And then we discovered these EVA foam head products that fly fishermen use to make poppers.
The bass poppers,
and said, "Hey, they would work for what we're trying to do here, which is basically take any soft plastic you have in your tackle box and turn it into a topwater."
To a top, there you go.
So we started. I started using those, and I was making them for myself and giving away a lot. And at one point, I realized I'm giving away.
You're giving away the store, man.
I was a bass fisherman. I was a tournament guy and everything back then. And go about 6 years ago. As what happens with a lot of people who get their first snakehead, it was an accident.
Oh, wow.
The guy got hooked it. I hooked it. I said, what the heck is this? It looked like a catfish coming in. And I got it in the boat, and I said, oh, that's a snakehead. I got me a snakehead. And once you get your first one, you're just hooked on them.
That's it, man. Once it's like golf or fly fishing, once you get the bite, once you're bitten, that's it. That is it.
Yeah. I mean, they're a totally different approach to fishing for them, being that they're mostly in the real shallow water that's swampy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of weeds, a lot of duckweed floating on the surface, lily pads. It's really a different approach. You have to have a little bit stronger equipment. I use 30-pound braid straight to the lure.
Yep.
No leader if I'm out specifically targeting snakeheads. Where if I'm going bass fishing, I'll use about a 6-foot fluorocarbon leader. But yeah, it's been a journey for the last 5 years chasing these things and finding out the best ways to get them, and then beefing up the lures so that they could handle the snakehead. It's not only the fight with the snakehead when you're bringing it in, but it's also once you get it in the boat, it's like it's like jumping into a mosh pit.
Yeah. I'll tell you, too, they have the dentition of a tyrannosaur. People, Frank, I want your opinion now. Have you noticed these past 5 years the snakehead spreading, which is a problem? Listen, I consider it a great game fish, but they are spreading, and they're spreading quickly. It's like there's nothing except a den, and they're shutting down some fish ladders. That's in the article. There's nothing to stop these things.
No, they like to travel. They'll expand their territory. We'll dispel one thing here. They do not get out of the water and walk to another pond.
Yeah, where do you see? I haven't seen that.
I've never, ever, and no one else that I know of has ever even seen a video or seen a fish like in the middle of a field that jumped out of the water and tried to go walk to another pond.
All right. Let me interrupt you right there. I'm going to piss off a lot of people now who said my uncle's friend's cousin saw them letting coyotes off the back of a truck, and that's how coyotes spread through New Jersey. They're the fishing game stock coyotes. Hey. Okay, sorry.
I did actually see him sprout wings one time and fly, but,
Well, Frank, one thing here, as an aside here, listeners, Fish and Wildlife Bureau of Freshwater Fisheries, great crew there. They found a snakehead and removed it up there by the Manatee Sandwash Ponds. That's the Morris River drainage. They were able to get it. It was 27 inches, and they send me the thing in centimeters or millimeters, whatever the hell it is. Just to do it in English measurements. So they're trying to stop, because I'll tell you, Frank, they get into these Pine Barrens waters, very delicate situations there. They can wipe it out. But here's the thing: if the hue and cry at first, especially here behind the microphone, the calls and whatever I get in emails, it's going to ruin the bass fishing. It's going to ruin the bass fishing. Now, according to Chris Smith, who wrote the outstanding piece, it's been basically a draw. And he says, Tom, only time's going to tell. It could be years from now till we see a final impact of these things. He said, but I'll tell you, the people who are catching them, Frank, are loving them. They're just wild, man.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the time factor has been what's been in play in Maryland. Okay, so Maryland is your area to look to, since they've been there for going on 25, 30 years now in Maryland. And what they're finding in Maryland is they're now starting to treat them like a game fish. They've stopped the invasive push, and now you catch and release it back into the water that you caught it from, or you take it home and eat it.
Yep.
And in New Jersey, they still have the thing where you're not allowed to
catch and kill. Yep.
Yep. Well, it's actually a little bit different.
Okay.
When you talk to the fish and game people, which we have, you have to define what possession is. Okay. Possession is not hooking the fish, taking a picture, and throwing it back in the water. Possession is when you take that fish and put it into a situation where you can remove it. So if you put it on a stringer in your live well or in a bucket, what they want is they want you to kill it at that time.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But returning it back into the water does not count as possessing a snakehead. They want you to put it back in the water because they don't want the bucket spread. They don't want you to take a snakehead, remove it from the waters that it came from, and bring it to a place like a sand pond in the Pine Barrens.
And that's been a problem. And again, pissing people off here. There are people that are doing that. They just had a removal. They had a rotenone. I'm not going to mention the area. It's in the article. They had a rotenone, a lake where they were found. And they did get them out. It was another drainage, and they came to the conclusion. These guys and gals are sharp on the invasive, aquatic invasive study team, that they were introduced. They were stocked. Some people, I want to spread it. It's like spreading hybrid stripers. I want to spread it. Want to create another fishery here, and it wreaks havoc, especially with these things. Yeah,
well, they eventually attain a balance. I would say that the snakeheads for me have been the best thing to happen to Southwest New Jersey. For fishing. The swampy areas there were really barren before. You went in, you maybe caught carp, maybe catfish, but they weren't really bass places. Snakeheads have filled that void in those swampy areas. And what they're finding in Maryland is that the bass are actually thriving in snakehead waters. You're getting better quality because the snakeheads are helping to thin out the overpopulation of the tiny bass, and bass just gorge themselves on snakehead fry.
Exactly right. So it's the correlates right there. Joining us on the line right now is Frank Irati, a.k.a. the Northern Snakehead Swami. That's a Tom. I came up with that one. Well, Frank, let's get to it. For now, we have talked to guys, and I saw it myself. Something of the frogs, the surface frogs, great lure. A lot of snakeheads are caught on there. There are instances where the snakeheads get frog shy. You run it through. In fact, one of the ones we caught on a spinnerbait, we cleaved the spinner right through where we were working a frog. Maybe it saw something different and nailed. It was a small one, nothing extraordinary. Have you found that now? Your lures, did you see like, hey man, let's get something totally different out there because these things look unusual. Go into that, please.
Yeah, yes, they do. They look unusual. People first said that when there was a buzzbait, and people said that'll never work. Now with these spiky balls that they have out there that are all the big rage, and when
the dice baits or whatever they call it,
came out, people said, that'll never work. But then something strange happens, which is they work. The frogs are always a good choice for snakeheads. They're built for and designed for fishing in that kind of environment. But we like to present something a little different. I like to say that I'm a corn farmer, but once in a while I like to eat potatoes too.
I like that. Coming from northern Maine for a while where it was all potato country. That's why I don't eat spuds anymore, man. I picked them, grew them, drove them, bagged them. Forget it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, So what you can do is, with what we have, if the fish are looking for something bigger, you throw a bigger soft plastic on the back. If you're looking for something small, you throw a little crawdad on there or a little, paddle tail.
I like the versatility. The versatility right there. Yeah.
That's why we say we're the most versatile topwater lures that are out there because you could change your entire presentation without having to cut off and tie on something new.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you have the swamp. I see the swamp prowler, dragon slayer. Oh, dragon. Is that what a double-digit snakehead's called? Then you have the trespasser, the violator, and the hog hunter. I guess for largemouths. So, Frank, of that in your repertoire, your SKUs, what do you think is the most effective for the snakeheads?
I go with the swamp prowler. It's really been designed for the snakehead. It's got a good strong hook on it. Mm-hmm. It's got a very versatile head on it. You can put a lot of different things in the back of it, and everything will look pretty good.
Okay, what plastic would you put on there?
The number one thing that we have, the number one combination, it's a green and yellow head with a green and yellow Yum Money Crawl on the back of it. That's our number one.
Yeah,
you wouldn't think of crawfish floating on the top of the water, but it's got two claws there that really kick up a ruckus when they drag it across the top. So that's our number one. I have a lot of pictures, a lot of catch pictures, and a lot of them show that green and yellow head in there.
Listen, just a heads up, one of the photos is in the article. Frank holding up a badass looking snake. I tell you, if you let that thing go, it would come back after you. That's how mean it looked. We have on the line Frank Irati, Seducer Lures. We're talking snakeheads. Frank, we're up against a hard break. Your opinion, making the snakehead, classifying it as a game fish, would that, and that'll make it you could set a record with that, establishing a state record. Won't you think that would increase participation if the main thing is to get rid of these things, or it's not going to, you can't get rid of them all, but take as many out of an environment as possible? I mean, really get people pumped for it?
Yeah, I think that they need to classify it as a game fish, or at least take it to the level to start with that Maryland has. That Maryland is really starting to promote the snakehead. They renamed it the Chesapeake Chana. Is kind of take the scary name of snakehead off of it. But classified as a game fish. Get those records set. Get people chasing the records. I think that would really help with the snakeheads.
Okay, I'm going to sandbag you right now, Arati. I know I was going to do this. You're probably going to hang up on me real fast. Your top 3 choices. People want to find out about snakehead fishing. Where would you send them? Bank. Now, strictly a bank. That's going to be bank or boat. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you where I'll send them. I'll send them to Southwest New Jersey. Anywhere from, I would say, around the north of the Cohansey River, all the way up to Trenton. Just follow the Delaware, all the creeks and swamps that are back there, any lakes that have dams that have overflowed. And,
yep, you'll find them.
Fish ladders, the snakeheads will get in there.
See, people, he didn't go top 3. He told you everywhere.
and I would say that if you're looking for, to get your snakehead gear, Mike's Fishing Gear in Woodbury is a very unique tackle shop. It's in the middle of an antique mart. So you can take your wife there, and she can spend an hour and a half walking around the store, looking at all the antiques and the craft vendors, and you suddenly discover a tackle shop right in the middle of that thing. And they have the largest selection of snakehead lures in New Jersey. So if you're looking for advice and gear, I would go to Mike's. If you're looking for advice, there's 2 people on Facebook that I would say to follow. Okay, one is Sandi Kennedy. That's Sandi with an I. She's the snakehead queen of South Jersey. You'll constantly see what she's catching them on, videos and photos. And then the Snakehead Slayerz, Slayerz. Follow them. They are out all the time. They always put down how many they caught, what they caught, what time of day it was, where the bite was. Like I'm looking at one right now, it says bite was in the grass, plus on fry balls, and what lure they were using. So you can follow those 2, along with following Seducer Lures, and you'll see lots of advice if you're trying to get into snakehead fishing for the first time.
Okay, Frank, that is awesome, man. Well, listen, I hope to see you on the water one of these days. Let's get a snakehead trip together, little brother.
Yeah, let's do that. And there's organizations that are forming out there now, like one called SOCA, that is helping with the trying to do the conservation of snakehead fishing. So I think that more associations will form like that to try to help. Like there's bass associations, and plus another thing that's going to start kicking it in is there's a lot more snakehead tournaments forming now. Bass tournaments got big. They're saturating every small lake in New Jersey every weekend, but the snakehead tournaments are a little bit different. They're usually scatter. It's wherever you fish, wherever you want, and then report back into a central place. Either bring your fish in to get weighed, or they may have measure, photo, and release. But I think the snakehead tournaments are going to, kick it into another level also.
Okay, good stuff. We're going to fly way long on this segment. We'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, thanks, Big Tommy P.
Oh, way long on that segment. Be right back. Rack and Fin Radio. Snakeheads, man. Try them out.
This weekend.